Welcome, 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 welcome. Beautiful to be with you. Welcome, friend, to Live Dao with me, George. Hope you've had an amazing week and beautiful to be with you. So, my idea from this week is a Zhuangzi story that came to me, one of Zhuangzi's great stories that, it's funny how these stories come up in certain situations in my life and serve me and nourish me. If you're kind of into the self-development world, or just even you're in this world that we live in, so much of the messages that we're given is that success equals working really hard and becoming big, becoming idealized, celebrated. Then you are successful. And you may notice your thoughts, your ego telling you that, you need to do more in order to be successful. And although I've been on this journey for 6 years and I have began to connect with my value from my being as opposed to what I do, I still notice by virtue of my, the platform that I'm on, which is YouTube, of wanting more algorithm. I make these videos and I'm passionate about the value that I want to provide, and that includes reaching people. And so when the algorithm doesn't share my video with as many people as I'd like, then, my ego, the part of me, says, George, you can be more, you can be more, you can be more. So if you are noticing that of there's parts of you that want you to do more and you'll be successful when you do more, this is a story for you. So one year in China, there was loads of flooding, tons and tons of rain, and eventually the Yangtze River flooded its banks. And in ancient China, a lot of their culture came from the flooding of the Yellow River and the Yangtze River. And so the Yangtze River was so wide that you could not make out from standing on one side and looking out on the other side, the difference between a horse and a cow. The river god, who was the spirit of the river, was delighted. He looked all around him. Look how great and grand I am. Incredible. I surely am the greatest being that exists. And so, super happy, the river god traveled down the river and was rejoicing in how powerful and big he was, until he reached the end of the river. And there before him lay the biggest, vastest thing that he'd ever seen before, the ocean. He flowed into the ocean and he was downcrest. What a fool I was, thinking that I was the biggest thing in existence, the most powerful river and water entity that exists. Now look at this. Hearing this, the ocean god piped up, said, you think I'm big? Who knows what is big or what is small? When we really understand the Tao, when we really understand nature, we begin to let go of these concepts. Because I understand that although I am so big that storms and flooding can fill me day in, day in, day out, and I don't get any higher. And even in droughts, I don't get any lower. Surely I am some of the biggest things that exists on this planet, but I consider myself nonetheless very small. I consider myself like a pebble sitting on a grand mountain, or a single grain of rice in a rice store. All these politicians that squabble over land and fame and success and honor, they seem to me like people who do not understand the full workings of the Tao. We live on this planet and we are a small aspect of something so grand. This embodied human existence that all these humans take, again, is just one aspect of the greater Tao. when we understand ourselves in context, we understand our true nature, that's when we can relax into just being. We don't need to be big. And so that's why I can be joyful as the god of the ocean. So a beautiful and instructive story for me on my journey is just to remind ourselves of when our ego wants us to be something that we're not. Is to remember the river god who is very pleased with himself for being so big and encompassing so much more than normal, but then getting schooled by the ocean god. And I love these Zhuangzi stories, personifying nature and imagining what these different aspects of nature would be saying. And so can we loosen the grip of the ego and return back to our understanding of the Tao, that, we are an aspect of nature and honoring this embodied human incarnation, but also remembering that, we are at one with the Tao, and that this ego story is trying to cling on to bigness and judgments of bigness and judgments of better, even though really we're just an aspect of the whole. So can we let go of control and allow ourselves to flow? So Billy says, George, do you think it's possible to be a Taoist without belief in any metaphysics? So what is metaphysics? This is a story that metaphysics is always a word that I didn't quite understand in my philosophical journey. And what is metaphysics? So metaphysics refers to, that which is not physical, that which is the underlying non-physical principles that allows everything in the universe to exist. So when we talk about metaphysics, we're talking about the principles of what is nature, what is knowledge, what is matter, what is consciousness, these great questions. So, George, do you think it's possible to be a Taoist without belief in any metaphysics? I don't think you can. I think that one of the key principles of Daoism is an acknowledgement of mystery, an acknowledgement that the intellect cannot capture a full understanding of what existence is, but nonetheless that is itself a metaphysical statement, right? To be a Taoist is someone who subscribes to that belief, which is also why we try and release this idea of being an ist. I'm not a Taoist. I'm a human being who grew up in a country that we call England, and Daoism has been very instructive for me on my journey, and I'm very grateful for it, but I'm not a Taoist. Because once we begin to identify as anything ist, then that's when we begin to lose our intellectual independence and our ability to think for ourselves. So, there's many ideas from Taoism that helps with my metaphysics, that helps with my understanding of this great mystery that we are involved with. But I don't identify as a Taoist. Garda Monk sharing, the story reminded me of the Kung Fu saying, just as there is a sky beyond a sky, there is always a talent above a talent. Beautiful. So even the great Kung Fu masters, there's been greater Kung Fu masters in the past. And if you are very proud of your achievements in certain skills, then, honoring and celebrating the work that you've done into developing the skills that you've got. But there's always going to be someone who's better than you. There's always going to be someone with a better brain or a faster brain, someone more skilled musically, someone with a more traditionally beautiful body and face. So, acknowledging that our ego will tell us, I'll be happy when, or I'll be confident enough when I am skilled enough in communication And I notice these thoughts as well. Like I'm still a single Pringle and still manifesting a woman into my life. And I notice still the ego saying, I'll be confident enough when, I'll be confident enough to bring this amazing person into my life when I achieve X, Y, Z. And we get trapped in these thoughts and these beliefs because they are just constructs of the human mind, and they limit our capacities to just trust that we are enough just as we are, that we have a lot to give just as we are, that you have gifts from exactly the place that you are right here, right now. I know that because you're a human being, a manifestation of the mysterious intelligence of the universe. You have so many capacities that we can only begin to really comprehend with our thoughts and our minds and our beliefs. So why do we limit ourselves with thinking that brings us down and that puts us in boxes? Let go of it. What can you let go of? Are there any ego stories that are limiting you, or that are telling you that, when you become bigger, then you'll be enough? Are any of those alive in you right now? Can you let go of them? Can you make an intention to just, let them go? Danbury sharing, I think the story reminds us that we are all interrelated and that all concepts of who we are related. So beautiful. So instead of this obsession with the individual that we have in our society and us all being in competition in order to become the best and the biggest and to be like the grand rivers where we think we're super important, instead the Zhuangzi story is inviting us to see ourselves in terms of relationship, that actually we are already meaningful by being, as opposed to our meaning coming from what we do. And so if we remember that, then we can begin to relax into understanding the value that we have from the here and now and from being in community and in relationship. Wayne sharing, I'm going through an issue at work, at a disciplinary tomorrow. I will have to keep my ego in check as no one is indispensable. And sending good wishes for you, Wayne, on that challenge that you have. I know from the group that you're going through some unfortunate events where, shit happens. The wisdom of that, of like unfortunate stuff where, you're doing, I know that you bring so many good intentions to your work and what you do and your energy. And this has been a lot for you to carry. And I guess just remembering your value coming from your being, that, it's okay that this is happening and that you will survive and that you're strong and that change is inevitable. And another question from Angie asking about uncertainty is that, if we can trust the flow, even all of the supposedly negative events can be learning, they can be part of our flow, they can be things that we accept and we acknowledge, and we can flow through them. And if we can live from that perspective, then that's when life becomes easier. Axo Ananesj says, big, small, we're always smack dab in the middle of both of them. So the middle way, the Tao talks about the middle way, the Buddha talks about the middle way between big and small, is that can we, again, have this celebration of enough? Oh, that's a powerful idea, is that I'm enough just as I am. Don't need to be big, don't need to believe that I'm small and insignificant. Can I believe that I am enough? And actually, believing that I'm small and insignificant is actually what the story is inviting us to do. I used to have some resistance against that. It's like, no, I'm a human being, I'm important. But I'm also insignificant, right? This embodied human experience that I have is meaningful. I find it meaningful. Like I'm a manifestation of the divine intelligence of the universe, and I have these capabilities and I want to exercise them, and that's great. But I'm also insignificant. One grain of rice in a huge grain house. I am one human among 7 billion on one planet in a galaxy filled with hundreds of billions of planets, of a universe made of hundreds of billions of galaxies. We're ridiculously insignificant. We're so small. But again, because we are an aspect of the whole, a manifestation of the divine, then that's where our value comes in, because we are, the value of the sacredness of the universe isn't measured by how big it is, but instead from the fact that it is, and it's so mysterious. All right, Ferdinand saying, I love the story. I always wanted to find a non-religious English-speaking Daoism association here in New York City. The only ones I've seen are exclusively Chinese and religious. And yeah, wayfinders.global is the online community for people who found my channel. Also, bigger than that is, people exploring the ways of nature without being dogmatically associated to one religion, instead being open and empowering ourselves to learn about life and ourselves through many different traditions. So wayfinders.global, there's lots of community events, and there's also physical meetups as well from that. So check that out. Garden Monk in a Yoda voice. When this... what's a Yoda voice? Yeah, there we go. When this, when that, when right now already is. Time is but an illusion. Our wisdom can tell us where the truth is. Anna sharing the smallness rather than me makes me feel connected to the greater. Beautiful. Angie sharing, I'm trying to let go of the thought that my thoughts can hurt me. I heard recently a reminder that thoughts can be scary, but not dangerous. Yeah, so remembering that our thoughts are just energy arising in our awareness, and we don't need to latch onto them. We don't need to identify with them. That is, something that can be quite empowering. So beautiful to be with you. Thank you so much. Grateful to be with you. I hope that story serves you. Are there any commitments that you can make from today's session? Anything you can commit to with your meditation in terms of, letting go of these ego stories of needing to be big and relaxing into who we are right now. So thank you so much, friends. Sending love and gratitude, and we'll see you next week.